Chief Udoka was a man of great wealth, a self-made billionaire. He built his empire from nothing, but the strength of his hand and vision in his heart. Born into a family of carpenters, he turned a simple hand-working shop into a global furniture and real estate empire. He owned mansions in different countries, had fleets of cars, and was respected across the land for his philanthropy. Despite all this, he lived alone in a grand estate, a massive mansion sitting on acres of land, surrounded by tall gates and security guards. His wife had passed away many years ago, with no children or immediate family around. His life was quiet and lonely. Every time his driver took him round the city market road, he would stop by to buy oranges from a particular girl. Her name was Uju. Uju was only 17, but her maturity and hard-working spirit made her stand out. She had bright eyes, full of curiosity, a soft but confident voice, and a personality that was both kind and fearless. Life had been hard on her. She had dropped out of school due to her parents' financial struggles, and she now helped support the family by selling oranges by the roadside. At first, Udoka only stopped because he liked the taste of her oranges, but soon he began to admire her determination. She was different from the other market girls. She never begged, never complained about her struggles. She simply worked hard, smiled through the pain, and faced each day with courage. Their conversation started simple. "How much are your oranges today?" he would ask. "Same price as yesterday, sir," she would reply with a playful smile. But over time, their talk became deeper. She told him about her dreams, how she wanted to go back to school, how she wished for a better life for her parents. He told her about his past, about the wife he lost and the family that lived far away. One day, he made her an offer. "Bring the oranges to my house daily, and I will pay you more than you make in the market." At first, she hesitated, but eventually she agreed. That was how their bond deepened. With time, Udoka became more than just a customer. He became a provider, a protector. He bought Uju new clothes, made sure she and her family never lacked food, even paid for her to return to school. He purchased a car for her father, who was a struggling mechanic, and opened a shop for her mother to sell provisions. People gossiped. Of course, a 17-year-old girl and a 35-year-old billionaire. It didn't seem normal, but Uju didn't care. She admired Udoka's kindness and intelligence. She wasn't even thinking about marriage. However, whenever her parents or siblings brought up the topic, Udoka would change the subject. He never spoke about marrying her. "Why don't you want to marry me?" she asked one evening. "Marriage is not something to rush into," he replied, his eyes distant. But she was young and playful. He laughed at her boldness, and then years passed and they had children together. 6 in total, 4 boys and 2 girls. Udoka loved them with all his heart, providing them with the best life possible. It was only after their last child was born that he finally agreed to marry Uju. The wedding was grand and lavish, rich Igbo dishes and a hall filled with well-dressed guests. Udoka's wealth was on full display, but only his uncles attended. "Where are your parents?" Uju asked. "They are sick," he answered simply. Something about the way he said it made her uneasy, but she brushed it off. And during the ceremony, a lady approached her. She was old, dressed in simple clothes, and had wide piercing eyes. "I know him," the lady said, but Uju dismissed her, sending her away without listening. Little did she know that this woman carried the truth she was never prepared to hear. Udoka's 49th birthday was a celebration of love and success. Their children played happily. Music filled the air, and laughter echoed in their grand home as Udoka stepped out of his car, holding Uju's hand. A voice called out his name from across the street. "Udoka!" He froze. His body trembled. His grip on Uju's hand weakened. Then, before everyone could react, he vanished like a ghost. Uju screamed in horror and collapsed. When she woke up, nothing made sense. Her husband, the father of her children, had disappeared before her eyes. Days passed. No one could explain it. It still wasn't clear to her, as everything was confusing to her. Despite finding out he was a ghost, her family member was still respectful of the little time they spent with him because he was very kind and passionate. He helped everyone, regardless of whoever, and this made her smile. Looking at the children she had given birth to for him, she wiped her tears, promising to be strong and continue loving him because he was too good for a man. Weeks passed, and her son came to her one day, telling her he saw their dad. And she asked, "Where did you see him?" And he replied, saying in his dreams that he sent him to come tell her that he still loves her and would always be with them. Once again, Uju started crying, pulling her son to a warm embrace. With that, the doorbell rang, and it was the lady that called out Udoka's name. Knowing that she had seen the lady before, Uju invited her inside the house. She entered the house, looking around, scanning everywhere with her eyes. As she sat down, shaking her head and whispering to herself, she said, "He did it." And then, Uju then asked about the lady's relationship with her late husband, or better still, father of her children. And the lady brought out a white and black photo from the 90s and gave it to Uju, who pointed out that "That's my husband, that's him." The lady went ahead and said, introducing herself as the only surviving siblings of Udoka. She went ahead and told Uju that her late husband had died since 1953 and was poisoned by his wife. He was a carpenter back then, struggling to make it and bring out his family and village out from poverty, struggling at his shop every day, and his wife refused to give him children because she didn't want to give birth into poverty. And just like that, she started sleeping with the town's chief priest because way back then, the chief priest was the richest man in the community due to the offerings from the villagers. So, when Udoka found out, before he could make a move, she poisoned him, and he managed and staggered to his sister's house, telling her that his wife had poisoned him, then gave up the ghost. The wife, on the other hand, had an accident with a trailer on her way back from the market few weeks after his death. Then, many years down the line, people started telling her from the city that they saw her brother, and that was why she came to the city to see for herself, only to see it was his ghost. They both couldn't explain for how long he's been on this earth since after his demise and why he came back. But the sister said, "I think my brother came back to fulfill the two most important things he wanted before he left, to have the children his wife deprived him of having, and to make the money he was struggling to get before his timely departure. Uju cried and decided to pay a visit to his grave with the help of his sister. Then, on getting there, she sat down, praising him for being an amazing husband and a generous man, calling him all sorts of sweet names and romantic names in Igbo. Before saying her final goodbye, just before leaving, a madman walked up to her and said, "I love you, and you are the best thing that had ever happened to me. I wish I could stay, but I want you and our children to be happy. Please move on whenever you find happiness. I will always be with you and protect you." With that, he touched her face as she stood still, looking at the madman in shock. Just then, he ran away mad as she returned home with peace in her heart, ready to be strong for their children. Hey guys, do you believe in spirits returning to fulfill their dreams? If you were Uju, would you have loved Udoka the same way had you known the truth earlier? Tell me what you think about the story. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. See you soon with another beautiful story. Bye.